Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, January 8th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Susan Tully Lively Boardroom of the 1887 building. I'd like to start the meeting out with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To call the meeting to order. Do roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Andre.
Here.
Mr. Gayhart.
Here.
Mr. Gatton.
Here.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Here.
Mrs. Costock. Here. Mrs. Reckles.
Here.
Mr. Scarrow.
Here.
Mr. Marcus.
Here.
Mr. Forster.
Here.
All right. This meeting has been noticed per state statutes, and we do have a few people who would like to speak tonight. So I'll just quickly read the community participation statement. Anyone who is speaking during this time completed the sign-in sheet. Thank you for doing that. Anyone making a statement, please be aware that each speaker bears the personal risk if anything they say during the community participation of the school board meeting is defamatory, slanderous, or otherwise harmful to another individual. For policy, we have 30 minutes available for community participation. Looks like there's 3 people who have registered to speak, and you each have 3 minutes to say what you want to say. We're going to start out with Lori Kyle.
I'm Lori Kyle, as you all know. I just want to start out 2024 thanking you all. I feel like this is a really good year moving forward. I'm feeling it in everything I'm doing, and I just for sure want to be part of righting this ship. And I want you to know that I know how much time you spend doing this, and it doesn't go unappreciated. And that's how the community feels about you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And the next up is Kelly Walcott.
Hello, my name is Kelly Walnut. I'm a parent of 5 children for an Alfred Area School District. I wanted to bring up 3 separate situations that involve employees of the school district. I would appreciate the board's help in understanding how an employee of the school district should act towards parents. One situation happened at the Financial Stability Board meeting. A parent not in favor of going to a referendum was giving a presentation. The presentation was interrupted by the superintendent, which caused confusion and frustration for the parent presenting. A second situation was during a school board meeting where the athletic secretary of the high school said that the parent who requested the book review will be responsible for every new college student from Alcorn Area High School struggling in a class where reading one of these books would have been beneficial. The athletic secretary also referred to the parent as one narrow-minded individual. A third situation is when I emailed the middle school PTO questions about the Scholastic Book Fair. The last communication I received from the president of PTO, who is also an employee of the school district, said that I needed to find more constructive uses for my time and that my questions felt like contrived harassment. I was also told to never contact the PTO by email again. Here are 3 instances where parents were presenting their ideas, following policy, and asking questions. All 3 parents were met with unprofessionalism by 3 separate district employees. As a board, what do you feel is appropriate conduct for employees of the school district? I also, like Lori, want to thank you for your time for being on the board. And I do really appreciate your input because I don't know the proper steps. But I just thought if parents are trying to do, they feel they're trying to do the right thing and they're trying to bring up points that they worked hard on, if they're being met with whatever you want to call it, resistance, it's going to make it hard for them to want to keep communicating. And my concern is, being on the Financial Stability Ad Hoc Committee, that some parents might just not want to be here anymore. So I just really would appreciate, like, how are people supposed to act to parents when they bring up things that they might not necessarily agree with? So I just want to thank you for your time.
Up is Steve Perkins.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, like the other two have said, thank you for your time, and hopefully 2024 is an awesome year for the Elkhorn Area School District. I think it's off to a great start with the fact that we're not having to deal with referendum issues on the April ballot, and I think that was a great decision by the board to push it and try and find ways to cut within the school. Unfortunately, when cuts happen, in the world that we're in, everybody at the lowest level gets cut first. Which, when you're talking about schools, talking about teachers. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity within the schools to find ways to move things around so that the teachers are not impacted. The teachers are what make this school district what they are. And there's some that I do not agree with at all. And I've met with them, and there's definitely a group that I do not agree with. But at the same time, my kids are with them. And they have my support. I will talk with the teacher if I feel something's wrong. And I do help out in the Tibbetts school. I won't tomorrow because it's a snow day. But it is something that there is help needed. And there are parents in the school district that would love to help out. And anything that could be done to not make cuts to the teachers to affect them. And whatever needs to be done from the parent side to help. And unfortunately, I know that there are states that are not going to be getting federal funding for lunches. And that's what the news is saying. And unfortunately, it's because they're saying no to the president on whatever the agenda is that he's pushing on them. And you guys are going to be facing that same situation. When that time comes, I will gladly vote yes on the referendum if that garbage is out of our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That concludes the community participation time. Let's move on to the student presentation.
It's
Oh, it's
really loud.
usually loud.
Yeah.
No, I think it's one going on the frets.
Okay.
It is unusually loud. So I have to touch base with Ramsey.
Okay,
It sounds like a little airplane turbine.
yeah, okay.
All right, do we wanna, let's have Mr. Gill, you wanna introduce who's here and sure, get this off?
Test. No, we have members of our high school Hope Squad. We have Santa Reese, Joel Dahlgren, and Madison Dane. Who else is here? Kristen Kilkenny sent the home. Nicole Sednowski and Kayla Harto from the Work Woman. Shannon Work Woman. They all work together with the high school Hope Squad. And these guys want to come and they have a really cool video, and I'm sure they're gonna be able to answer any questions that you guys have.
So I'm the co-president of Hope Squad. I'm the senior class representative, and I'm the vice president.
You just let me know what you want, just click the arrow. All right.
All right, so what is Hope Squad? Hope Squad is a national organization with a mission to prevent suicide through public awareness and education, to reduce stigma, serve as a resource to those who are touched by suicide. So our 5 core values that we have are education, initiative, openness, self-care, and community.
video. Here's a brief video that some Hope Squad members created, and we shared this out with the student body at our class meetings. And this just kind of talks about what Hope Squad is and what our values are.
Hope Squad is a peer-to-peer citizen friendship program, and students are nominated by their peers to become a member of Hope Squad. Here at Hope Squad, we aim to make the school a better place and help students.
I'm Trenton.
I'm Sienna.
And we're co-presidents.
I'm in Hope Squad to help make everybody's day a little bit better.
I'm in Hope Squad to be positive impact on school and community.
Hi everyone, I'm Missy and I'm a publicist. And I'm 12 and I'm the senior class representative. We're in Hope Squad because we want all of you to feel like you are loved, you care about, and that you can always have someone to go to. We want you to know that you matter and the world is better with you in it. Hi, I'm Molly. I'm Maddie. And I'm the secretary. I'm the vice president. And we're Hope Squad to share awareness of mental health. Hi, my name is Brent, and my why is I just believe that everyone should be able to find each other. I'm very sweet, and my why is because I want to advocate for mental health rights.
I'm Tate Forster, and I'm in Hope Squad because I would like to try to help people.
We're here for you.
Okay, so every month, Hope Squad, the National Hope Squad, devotes like a word of the month. So when we shared this with the student body, it was gratitude, which is a quality to be thankful, readiness to show appreciation for, and to return kindness. And this month it is optimism. So we made posters and we'll put those up around the school to talk about that.
Tell them about the activity of kids. Oh,
All right, so why is gratitude important? It is proven to give yourself more positive emotions, build and maintain stronger relationships. It gives you better self-esteem and well-being, and it's linked to lower levels of depression, stress, anxiety, and mindfulness.
Okay, so this is an activity that we did at our class meetings with all the students. So at this point, we invite you to all pull out your cell phones and just take a moment and send a text to someone that you're grateful for. The students just could be telling them that you appreciate them as a friend, or you appreciate all that they do. And we just really want to foster how relationships are impactful, and something that you do can really build someone else up. And you never know how much a message can mean to someone on like a certain day. So it's really important to tell others that you are grateful for them. And in turn, you're going to feel good letting those around you know that they are appreciated and valued. So let's give you a minute to do that. So another activity we did was we had a Share the Hope poster that we had all of the students sign. And by signing the poster, they were pledging to support positive mental health, like making our school a more welcoming environment, and supporting each other. So this is the poster that we had hanging in our cafeteria that we had everyone sign.
So if you guys ever get the chance to visit our school, you guys can sign it.
Okay, so back when we did our gratitude challenge, we had an activity for all students and staff. So Hope Squad members, staff, and other students had the opportunity to fill out forms that were sent out to others around the school. And these were just positive messages, and it just let other people know that someone was thinking of them. So in over a week, 812 gratitude cards were filled out and delivered to the staff and students of the school. And it was just really neat to see when like someone would get a card, like either a staff member or a student, they would just look so happy, and it would just really pick them up throughout the day. And I think it felt good, like when you wrote a letter, you felt good, so then you'd write more, and then like when people received them, they felt motivated to tell other people they were grateful. So it's just a really cool like full circle effect within our school, and it showed the importance of gratitude.
So something new that we're doing this year is May Mental Health shirts. So this is the shirt that we selected for our community, and we would love all of you to purchase them and support. They're going to be $12, and it just represents like togetherness in our community, supporting each other.
And we as a Hope Squad want to thank you guys for listening to our presentation.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
I actually have one. When you had people fill out the cards and send them to, was there some kind of an effort to make sure that every student received something?
So no. So we had, so when we gave this presentation it was for each grade.
Sure.
So the goal was that when we gave this presentation that we had everyone do it at once. So that way it was spread to everyone.
Sure.
And then so next year when we do this, we're gonna have more prompts. So there are different prompts that you can choose from that give you different opportunities to say why you're thankful, why you're thinking of them. So although not everyone might not have gotten one, that's our goal for Hope Squad's goal for next year.
Sure.
And even if like they didn't receive one, like spreading gratitude and stuff by
Sure.
at least like sending one and
Yeah.
stuff, like
Yeah.
which I think that's like just as good to like do that.
But great job. I love what you did.
I got one. I think it just helped the group or the community. So aside from doing these sort of planned activities to bring in positivity and support for, mindfulness, anti-bullying, that sort of, what other roles as a Hope Squad member do you fulfill amongst the students, or what are some of the tasks or responsibilities that you have? And
Yeah, so within our school, we do trainings like throughout the year, and we learn how to help other students. So we're like a resource for students to come to when they're feeling down about themselves. Maybe they need a little more encouragement, or maybe they're dealing with something more serious like suicide. So we serve as like kind of mentors to our students, as people to come to. So it goes like beyond the activities. We're like safe people for our students to come to.
And like the eyes and ears of the school, like looking out for students, looking for signs and symptoms maybe of poor mental health, and like helping them out, referring them to a trusted adult. And
so if someone like Johnny comes to you and expresses like feeling thoughts of hopelessness or self-harm, how do you handle that?
We talk with them, ask them like how long they've been feeling this, kind of like helping them think about like why they're feeling this way, and then either trying to go with them to talk to a trusted adult, or referring them to a trusted adult, or getting a trusted adult to come speak with them.
And how do you guys know how to do that, or how to handle it?
We have lots of trainings and stuff. We've done stuff with other schools, which was really cool. We did a training last year there was a whole bunch of different schools there, and it just teaches you like how to handle different situations and being mindful of like what you're saying and stuff and how to support them best. Yes.
And our mentors are also counselors, and so they
Yes.
have a lot more experience, and so they've like guided us and helped us on like what we can do and like different strategies.
Any other questions? I know, are all of the schools in Walworth County now part of Hope Squad and at least the 912?
Oh, no, Burlington, it's not, that the ones that we ran, which that wasn't. Yeah, I think some of all our county schools are. I think they've all.
And I know that the county utilized some of the federal funding and the ESSER funds, identified Hope Squad as the most effective program that was out there. So they provided grants to all the schools, provide the training, and get that launched. I know we had it launched several years before, but you do have a constant training cycle. So even though we already had Hope Squad in place, I believe last year they still covered all of our training costs and for that ongoing support. So that was helpful. So when you go to your training, you were there with other area Hope Squads from the other schools?
Which is really cool because we got to share like ideas and stuff of how like we're engaging students and stuff and spreading awareness there. Like that's it was really cool.
Yeah, it's neat to like bounce off like other schools and like see like, oh, this school is doing this, like I think that's cool, or just like hear other people's experiences and backgrounds.
That's awesome.
Thank you,
Yeah,
students
thank
and
you very
advisors
much.
for all your work.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the agendas from the meetings on December 11th and the 18th to approve. Yeah, we'll do those separately.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the December 11th, 2023 regular and closed sessions, school board meetings as presented.
For a second. Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the December 11th, 2023 regular. Can we include the closed session? Because
Not everybody was there.
not everybody was, and
I'll amend it just. for
yeah,
the,
just if you don't
regular,
mind.
regular session school board meeting as presented.
Okay, thank you. I'm assuming the second still stands?
Correct.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the December 11th regular session school board meeting. And roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Abstain.
Mr. Gayheart,
Yes.
Mr. Gatton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Costock,
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles,
Abstain.
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
And then for the December 18th.
You want to do the closed session?
Yeah, let's do the closed session.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the December 11th, 2023 closed session school board meeting as presented.
A second.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the December 11th closed session school board meeting as presented. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Abstain.
Mr. Gayheart,
Yes.
Mr. Gatton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Costock,
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles,
Abstain.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Mr. Barkus,
Abstain.
Mr. Forster.
Abstain.
I apologize to the two of you. I forgot to, I'll go back to your vote on the regular meeting minutes. Mr. Barkus
Yes.
and Mr. Forster.
Yes.
All right, sorry about that.
And then looking for a motion for the December 18th meeting.
I have one thing that I want to add before we come to the vote for
Yes.
the 18th.
Thank you.
We are missing on there the presentation, because it says Bill and Eric on there gave the presentation, but we're missing Cheryl on there as
Yes.
well.
Thank you for, yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. So, we would like to see the minutes reflect the presentation by the minority report presented by Cheryl Dover. So, Looking for a motion.
I move to approve the minutes of the December 18th, 2023 school board meeting as modified.
Have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the December 18th, 2023 school board meeting as modified. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart,
Yes.
Mr. Gatton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Costa,
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Mr. Barkus,
Abstain.
Mr. Forster.
Abstain.
All right. Next is the general and other fund bills.
The general other fund bills this evening covers checks number 150966 through 151171, wire transfers 538 through 540 and 576 through 580, and ACH check numbers 394 through 479, the combined amount of $765,386.60. And then I provided a memo with some additional detail on several of the bills in your board packet. And then at the end of the bill packet, you'll see a copy of the treasurer's report through the month of November.
Are there any questions for Mr. Turner?
Spot on again.
So, right, I was exactly thinking the exact same thing. Spot on again. The only question I do want to have one question. Where did we come up with the 294 per gallon for the school buses? I'm assuming
Per contract.
I was going. Is it per contract? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So even though gas is cheaper right now, it doesn't
But
matter.
that's diesel fuel. Gas is not cheaper.
Fair
than-
enough. Thank you.
Diesel
That
fuel
is
is
true.
not cheaper than
No,
that is
294
true.
right now.
It hasn't been for a long time.
That's right.
That is
Saying-
true. That is true.
Today's rate.
Yeah.
That's it.
January 1st rates, I got them all right here.
What is it out of
Higher.
curiosity right now?
375.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Because I think it's important, so they do, I mean, there is a lot of work that goes into, because you lock in a contract price when you do look at that market, correct? And lock that in for a time, or how does
We're
that work?
talking probably two different things, because this
Okay.
is fuel for the school buses.
Right.
So for that, then we work with the bus company, and then they bid that out,
Mhm.
and they usually, they get, I think it's a little over 7,000 gallons at a time.
Mhm.
So that's how, so this depends on the market, and then they got
Yeah.
2 or 3 different suppliers, so they just
Yeah.
check with them.
And they're paying a different price than the consumer
Yeah.
is because of the volume of their. Yeah.
And 7,000 gallons, will that last them the entire year, or do they have to do another?
No.
How often?
We've got
does that
a max in our contract, I think it's 46,800, if I remember right, so.
Okay, so numerous times a year,
Yeah.
they're putting that out to bid to buy the next
Right.
cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But good question. Any other questions? If not, then looking for a motion to approve.
I move we approve the general and other fund bills of January 8th, 2024, check number 150966 to 151171, wire numbers 538 to 540 and 576 to 580, and ACH numbers 394 to 479, in the combined amount of $765,386.60 as presented.
Is there a second?
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the general and other fund bills of January 8th, 2024, check numbers 150966 to 151171, wire numbers 538 to 540 and 576 to 580, and ACH numbers 394 to 479, in a combined amount of $765,386.60 as presented. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart,
Yes.
Mr. Gatton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Costa,
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Mr. Barkus,
Yes.
Mr. Forster.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the open enrollment spaces for the next school year, 2024 to 2025.
All right, each year the school board has the ability to cap the number of seats that they would like within a particular program, within a particular school, or within the school district. When a student or a family open enrolls into a school district, they can request a specific school, but they don't have a right or entitlement to that school. So we look at the seats more from a global standpoint. If we can honor their request be due to space capacity, then we will do so. Sometimes we can't, depending on the grade level and the school students requesting, because we do have by policy caps that are set. These caps are not class size caps, but they're caps as it relates to taking open enrolled students. Meaning that if we have a kindergarten class that has 25 students, which we currently do not, but if we did, we could not accept an open enrollment application into that based on board policy.
Right.
So these are the ranges. We do not anticipate having any of the class sizes at those cap levels to where we would have to deny the open enrollment seats to them. The one recommendation that we do have is our RISE program, which is a magnet program where students throughout the school district attend for those students who have special needs related to the autistic spectrum. And that program is full. We anticipate that to be full. So we are recommending that we limit that space to no seats within that program. Now, as you go through the open enrollment period, and if we have no seats there, if seats were to open up later on and there were to be an alternative open enrollment, then we could look at it or consider that. But that is our one program that we're full in and recommend that we can.
So the average students per class in third grade is 25.1. Where are we getting 35 available seats?
I guess I don't understand the question in the sense that you're saying that the average.
Well,
Just looking straight on the chart.
yeah, it's the chart showing 25.1 average students per class, and if the cap is 25.
Because there's certain, like, for example, Tibbetts third grade may have 26, 27 in those, but West Side third grade might have 21.
Okay.
20.
Okay. And these, Bill, are these the numbers for the following school year? So we're not looking at current, we're like, so in other words.
This is their current, so these like
This is the
third
current.
grade, they're
So
at
third grade would be
25.1.
fourth grade next year.
So they move up to fourth grade.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it. So
yeah.
it would essentially have 30,
Roll
okay.
But it does fluctuate from building as well. So like we
Sure.
close sections, right now Tibbetts is our fullest.
Yep.
Largest average class size, but even that will vary from grade level depending on how many sections there are.
Yeah. But because third grade would be fourth grade next year, we would be able to accept students because we're not, fourth grade has a different threshold.
Correct.
I'm sorry, what?
We all done with your questions?
Yes.
Okay. I know that we had talked about this during the budget meeting on the 18th. And we've kind of skirted around it where we're talking about open enrollment for, I know this deal says not including options, okay, I understand that, right? But do we need to do something with options in the same format here? Because I mean, I think last time I heard we're like 40-1 right now through options. And I mean, if we're looking at potentially this next year increasing that amount by a substantial number of people, would we have to raise it higher?
No, so that's a little different in the sense that when we say 40-1, that's 40 students per staff member.
Yeah.
But they don't ever have like a face-to-face class with 40 students.
Right.
So what we do with options as they grow and or as they ebb and flow, if they grow and add students, then we add staff accordingly to balance that
Gotcha.
out. And it more than pays for itself because if options had a class of, if you add 40 more students, it's bringing in significantly more revenue than what adding another teacher price.
So we would just look at adding
We'd
a
adding,
teacher
yeah.
rather than increasing the number of students. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
There's some growing pains in between getting to those
Sure.
numbers from time to time. So the caseloads might go from 40 to 44, 45, but then by the time you get up to around that 50, then there's enough to justify adding that other staff.
Gotcha.
So we do need a motion, for placing no caps on the open enrollment.
I think what we need is, we just need the motion should just, yeah, the no caps and then placing the cap on the RISE program.
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
I move to place no caps on open enrollment basis for regular education students in all grade levels and for special education students who qualify for programs already established within the district, with the exception of the RISE program where no seats are available for the 2024-2025 school year as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to place no caps on an open enrollment basis for regular education students in all grade levels and for special education students who qualify for programs already established within the district, with the exception of the RISE program where no seats are available for the 2024-2025 school year. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart.
Yes.
Mr. Gatton.
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa.
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles.
yes,
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
Mr. Barkus.
Yes.
Mr. Forster.
Yes.
Okay, the next item is going to be tabled because Neola has not gotten us their contract as they were supposed to. So we're just going to table that until the next meeting. Student representative report.
All right, who's kicking us off?
Start with the high school. The band and choir spread some holiday cheer over the break. They played in the holiday parade and they went caroling around Elkhorn. And some Elkhorn students participated in the 3-2-1 academic bowl, and they continue to represent their school very well in those competitions.
The choir each year, as part of this performance, they always go to the kind of rotunda area in the library. It's amazing acoustics. They sound great in that setting. If you ever have an opportunity around that holiday season to look on that calendar when they do that, it's a neat performance.
The Land of Stories event will take place on Saturday, January 13th and Monday, January 15th, where teams will have the opportunity to help volunteer. This will take place at the Matheson Memorial Library. We'd also like to congratulate the honor roll recipients from both the Trailblazers and Patriots teams.
Jackson students had some fun before heading into the break. Fourth graders had a cookie decorating contest, that's a picture on the left, and the kindergartners celebrated with pancakes and a pajama party.
Family movie night will be held on Friday, January 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. So bring your pillows and blankets so you can wrap up to enjoy a night out. Snacks, drinks, and popcorn will be available for purchase. Elkhorn Rotary Club presents Hotcakes, Cool Tunes on Saturday, January 27th from 8 to 11 a.m. at the Elkhorn Area Middle School, where music will be provided by the middle and high school.
Tibbetts kindergartners learned about their super reading powers, and they all earned superhero masks and capes. And they also had some holiday fun heading into the break, which included a Polar Express Day and a Grinch Day.
I think something that's neat on the super reading powers, it's kind of making it fun for the kids, teaching them the different reading strategies to decode or articulate the words and so forth.
The Academy and Blended students have been learning many new topics in their science classes, including making landforms, studying forces at work, will it sink or float, collisions, blended circuits, and chemical reactions. Options returns from break, where they hope to climb towards success as they enter the new year.
CCA will be holding an info night for the Youth Apprenticeship Program on January 11th. They will be explaining how credits and Lottie points can be earned through a youth apprenticeship and how to apply for
them. Great, thank you very much. All right, next is proposed WASB resolutions. Jason, do you want me to talk about this a little bit, or?
Sure.
So there's quite a few of you are new on the board, so as you know, the Wisconsin Association of School Boards has the annual conference convention, which I think is next week, right?
It is next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yes, and on Wednesday of the conference at 1:30 in the afternoon, there's a delegate from each school board in the whole state. So 400, is it what, 404 or something like that?
460.
460? Okay. So I will be representing the school board this year at the delegate assembly. If you guys can take some time over the next week to read the resolutions, I believe they start on page 7 or 8. Let's see, no, further than that.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go, page 9, they start, so all the yellow pages. There's a lot of them, and you can probably scan most of them, but if there's anything in there where you have a very strong opinion, please communicate to me what your thoughts are on this. What it is these are resolutions that the representatives from the school boards across the state have come up with, that they would like to see the Wisconsin legislature make changes on and consider. Sometimes they take up a few of them and sometimes they don't. There's been things on here that they they've submitted the same resolution for years and the legislature just doesn't care. So, but so everybody from each school board gets to have a voice in these resolutions that they would like the WASB to take up with legislatures. So that's kind of what this is. But if you have any strong opinions on anything, please communicate them to me. Otherwise, I'll just be voting the way I want to.
How many of these get forwarded for WASB to as an approved resolution?
I don't know. That's a good question. I
I
should find that out.
Okay. I can tell you each legislative cycle, by far the highest percentage of bills that the state considers, doesn't mean necessarily passes, but are education related bills.
Right. Right. And these are all resolutions that school boards from across the state have felt that were important and have submitted for the committee to review. So these are the ones that made the cut. So we also have that same ability. If there's a resolution that, you know, the school board feels like they really want the legislature to take up, we can submit a resolution. There's a period of time in which that happens, and a deadline for that, but just keep that in your mind as throughout the year. So that was it. There's no action to be taken on that, so. Next thing is personnel.
We have 3 items for the Personnel Committee: an appointment of John Miller as a youth build teaching assistant, the transfer of Natalie Espinoza as a middle school special education teaching assistant, and then the resignation of Emma Veit. We want to thank her for her service as a special education teaching assistant.
Well, she rescinded her acceptance.
Oh, correct. Well, thank you for considering this. Yes.
Do we know why she rescinded?
I don't I believe she had another offer at the same time.
I figured that was the case.
She'd accepted and then had another offer.
Okay.
After that, were you in on that interview with?
I wasn't on the interview, but I don't recall. I don't know why she.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was another offer. So that position is being reposted or?
It was re-interviewed for,
Re-interviewed.
yeah, so I don't know, I would have to double check if they've gotten all of those filled. I think we had,
We don't at the high school yet.
yeah. So I think they had 5 special education assistant positions open that you were interviewing for.
We have one, I know. I'm not
You had
sure
one
what
of
it
the
is.
others, multiple schools.
All right, looking for a motion to approve the personnel recommendation sheet.
The personnel recommendation sheet for January 8th, 2024 as presented. Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded to approve the personnel recommendation sheet for January 8th, 2024. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart.
Yes.
Mr. Gatton.
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa.
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
Mr. Barkus.
Yes.
Mr. Forster.
Yes.
School gifts.
All right, we have a lot of school gifts, 10 to present this evening. First was Greg and Jill Wells who donated $1,000 to the drama department at the high school. Thielen Toll Construction has donated $1,500 to Tibbetts Elementary to be used at the discretion of Mr. Frost. Alex Finger has donated
Donated, not
$1,500, to the middle school to be used at the discretion of Mr. McBurney. Mary Trotter has donated a clarinet valued at $200. Melissa Mitchell's donated a clarinet valued at $100. Laura Washer's donated a flute valued at $100. Casey Andito has donated a French horn valued at $200. Ann Harkness has donated a saxophone valued at $500. Kevin McGinney has donated a clarinet valued at $100, and Kathy Drews has donated 2 saxophones valued at $800. I want to thank the music department. I know they did a push
I
for
was just gonna say,
music
Sarah must have
instruments
had.
amongst the students. So, yeah.
I was wondering why all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm
I know Maddie, I think
Mrs.
Maddie
Wiki
Bohr
was
and
busy.
Peter and Sarah really spearheaded,
Yeah.
getting that word out.
Yeah. Looking for a motion to accept.
I move to accept the generous school gifts as presented.
I'll second. Been moved and seconded to accept the generous school gifts. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart.
Yes.
Mr. Gatton.
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa.
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
Mr. Barkus.
Yes.
Mr. Forster.
Yes.
Thank you very much to all of those individuals. It's amazing. We have a wonderful community. Generous. Okay, second reading for the new and revised policies. The first one is the controversial issues in the classroom.
I have not received any comment related to any of them. If you'd like, I can pull up any of them if you want. Otherwise, they should be ready for approval.
Do we need to vote on each one individually, or can we accept them as a group?
No, I believe they can be accepted as a group.
Oh, yeah, it does. Okay, if nobody has any questions for Mr. Tadlock, then, or comments, then looking for a motion to approve.
Move to approve the new policies, controversial issues in the classroom, and human growth and development instruction, and parental notice and opt-out. Revised policy 823, public access to records, and to delete 823, exhibit public notice for access to public records as presented.
I'll second.
And it's been moved and seconded to approve the new policies, controversial issues in the classroom, and human growth and development instruction, and parental notice and opt-out. Revised policy 823, public access to records, and to delete 823, exhibit public notice for access to public records. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart.
Yes.
Mr. Gatton.
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa.
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
Mr. Barkus.
Yes.
Mr. Forster.
Yes.
All right, Revised 2024-2025 budget development calendar.
I'll turn it over to Mr. Sherwood.
At the last board meeting where the ad hoc financial stability committee presented, at the end of that discussion, the board talked a little bit about next step process, how do we kind of proceed, and I thought it made maybe the most sense is just to kind of embed some of those ideas within a budget calendar that we've already established. So what I did is include in the purple is basically some new items within the existing budget calendar and called it a revised budget calendar for the board to consider. So just kind of flowing through here, the first one, and we've talked about this administratively too, is really look differently in terms of the job postings and vacancies, and before any action is taken relative to just posting for a position or hiring a position, that they're scrutinized closer. We take a little more time maybe before we even post certain positions to see if there's a different way we could either meet the needs of the district and just take that kind of action, I guess, going forward than we have in the past. And I think we know as we move forward and look at balancing the budget, you know, one of the strategies is to look at staffing and possibly attrition kind of mechanisms, and this may provide that opportunity. So that's kind of what that's all about. As we kind of go through some other budget process, we talked about having a budget meeting with the board, and at the time, I think when this calendar was put together, I think I had some tentative dates, and then I put in an actual date this time, I think of March 2nd, which is a Saturday, but really wanted to confirm with the board members to see if that, number one, if you're interested in doing that, and if that date would work for all board members. So
It works for me.
That would not work for me.
I'll be on that day.
Yeah.
okay. So
The other option, something we discussed, that we looked at maybe that first week in April after the election cycle, do that board retreat. One of the, usually out of that budget retreat is where we kind of finalize some of those decisions in regards to having those discussions, like for the ad hoc recommendation, those type pieces. We could also look at doing it on an evening during the week like we did the curriculum retreat. I know we've traditionally done on Saturdays, but my guess is it's wrestling conflict.
No, for me,
March 2nd or
no. I mean, it's not very often I get to go out on a date with my wife, so I have to plan 6 months in advance. So,
well, you gotta keep that.
Yeah, don't cancel that.
Powerlifting.
Okay.
State powerlifting.
I'm assuming the rest of the Saturdays in March don't work.
I was trying to avoid because I thought that was the wrestling.
Yeah.
So they would, but I mean, any other date would probably work for the board members.
Yeah, I prefer not the 16th, that's my anniversary.
I can only do the 23rd or the 30th.
23rd or 30th. 30th would add, well, that's spring break.
Spring break.
Yeah, the 30th is spring break.
I don't have up the calendar for music, but I know Solo and Ensemble District is in there.
Okay.
They're on the 9th.
thank you.
Oh, that's on the 9th. Thanks.
27th.
We could do like a Monday evening opposite of one of the board meetings, that just takes for another evening there, but I know myself personally, I have wrestling sectionals and state.
Sure.
Which I usually have to deal with.
Did you say no to 23? Yes.
Yeah.
About Monday the 4th.
Monday, you said Monday the 4th?
Monday the 4th. I could make that work.
I still have the financial ad hoc committee in my calendar, so yeah, it works for me.
Does Monday the 4th work for everybody else? Yeah. How about you?
Good with the 4th. I'm good with the 4th.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's lock it in.
And we do
Monday the 4th?
Yeah.
Because that says March 4th. Was that what you were planning anyway?
Yeah. That's what we were talking about.
Oh, no, I just changed it.
Oh!
Right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not going crazy.
No, I just
Well,
changed it as
just a little. Just a
All
little.
All right. So we do that at the 4th. All right, we'll keep going.
We do 5 or 6.
What time?
Yeah, what's the, Heather, I think, what's the earliest you're available?
I can be there by 5.
Yeah, if we could do 5, that would be great,
Yeah.
so that at night
It
isn't
works.
get so late.
Yeah.
I need my pudding at night. Are we looking? We're looking at 8 till 8 or so, or how long do you think it lasts?
It's usually like 8:30 to 11:30, right, on Saturday,
If we did a
so.
Saturday, but, you know, the board may decide that we want to have another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that, you know, if you looked at those Mondays, then you could do the third Monday as well in the month, if that
Yeah.
works for
Do
everyone.
2 hours one on one Monday, 2 hours on another? I guess it's 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine, I can make it that 18th.
Yep, I can as well.
So March 18th.
Yeah, we could do that.
Oh, I can't.
Oh.
Why don't we do Monday the 4th and then
And then
see
set the
where
next
we're
one.
at.
Okay, okay, that sounds good. But maybe plan for
That's
2 hours?
possible. Yeah, I mean, I think that'll be enough time.
Yeah, and then.
I say enough, but 2 hours of that kind of stuff is probably enough.
Overwhelming.
Okay.
Good food, please.
I already had it on the mind.
Yeah.
Never gonna live it down.
Yeah.
I'll touch base with Gateway and see who handles that.
Okay, so.
So the other items I put in there, just kind of going forward, you can go down, scroll down. You know, typically the personnel committee, school board would be discussing salary, wages, perimeters in April. I also included on here that might be a time frame, depending on how the budget's going and the direction. The board may want to begin or look at, you know, are we going to do an operational referendum? You know, how will that work? And I think that discussion could happen then beginning in April and May. Teacher contracts need to be in their hand by the 15th of May. So there's a lot of kind of personnel related things that need to happen in that month. And then whatever decisions are made on support staff and administrators would usually occur about that time as well for the next school year. If the board does decide to, you know, go with a November referendum, I put in there the date, or kind of the last date to make that decision, which would be August 27th for a November referendum. And then I think the date's November 4th or November 5th for the actual fall election, so.
I noticed some guiding principles and budget planning goals. that
Yeah,
you put
I was
in
just
there.
gonna jump back up to that,
Okay.
so. The guiding principles are kind of similar to what we had for this year's budget process, and basically it just says we're gonna be open, transparent, multi-year perspective. Not lay off any existing employees, follow our mission and belief statement, use the recommendations of the ad hoc stability committee as a guide, and maintain stakeholder engagement throughout the process.
I'm a little nervous about going into a budget discussion using absolutes. Or some of them, need to be absolutes, but not that I do not want the community to misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not advocating for laying off existing employees, but saying we will not is kind of an absolute. And I just don't know if it gives us any flexibility in
for example, if I'm understanding you correctly, for example, if we end up saying, hey, we go through our entire budget process, we cut what we can, but then November comes around, we do the referendum and it fails, then are we bound by what that says? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Well, I think this is what we're stating that we will do as our guiding principles going into the talk for the referendum process, or not
Gotcha.
referendum. I mean, maybe we decide not to do a referendum. I don't know.
Gotcha.
We haven't made that decision.
Yep.
So, I'm just a little uncomfortable with the absolute of that one. Maybe using language that says we will make every effort not to, or something like that.
Well, I think it's only speaking to this next budget period.
Yeah,
So
it is.
I know that we're not gonna recommend layoffs for this next budget period.
Okay.
You don't have to.
At least the ad hoc.
For this next
That
period,
was.
is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
something that the ad hoc
Okay.
committee, in looking at the parameters and the strategies, knowing that, for example, just professional staff itself, we're between 24 to 30 new hires a year, just from natural transition rolling over. So if we look at based off of that recommendation, I got 1.25 or generate a combination of cuts and revenue gains of 1.25 million. And as part of that strategy, we didn't allude to the specifics of it, but part of that hiring, what we communicated to the administrative team today is that any retirements, resignations, unless it's mid-year, we have to put that person right now, but those would be held open and not posted to be filled up until we go through this budgetary process, giving the board an opportunity to give further guidance. But we felt that we could use attrition, knowing how much turnover we have, just like with our support staff. We know if we have to reduce from aides or even our custodial because of the turnover rate, that we could utilize attrition to collapse down on this.
So I understand that this is specific to the 2024-2025 budget. But if we choose to go to a referendum, that's going to affect multiple years, not just this next year. So I guess that's where I'm coming from, but because there's going to need to be additional cuts made for additional years.
Correct. This is just in reference to 24, 25, but yeah.
And
Julie, I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how this would work, or if we've ever done it before. I'm assuming we have. Can we add something to this where maybe on our school budget board workshop, at that point, we would be able to have maybe recommendations from each of the schools and the principals specifically, or the administration, to figure out where they feel within their own school there might be some areas to be able to trim and whatnot. That'd be pretty helpful because nobody knows their schools like they
Sure.
but that would allow us to be able to have some ideas going into that of areas to be able to look at.
I think we could request that.
Yeah, ask them all that.
Yeah,
great idea.
each of those building administrators to make some suggestions.
We can do that and take time and add them every meeting and get that compiled.
I don't mean to put more on your plate, Dan, I'm sorry.
We've actually gone through some exercises like that.
Okay.
They're very good at identifying where other buildings can trim.
Yes.
It's harder when we have to identify within our.
Okay.
Yeah, that just would, I think that would be helpful for, at the very minimum, the workshop that we're gonna be doing.
Yeah, all right.
So then I think there's just also some
The budget planning goals.
Budget planning goals. You just had it up, Jason, but and you just try to be competitive. Again, these are goals. And we talked about the vacant position and formalizing that process before we post it. Utilize attrition wherever we can. Do a little more deep dive in the Fund 80. I think that came up as one of the kind of recommendations. shared sacrifice if necessary. And I think we also need to build into our planning process either a decision of not going to referendum or if a referendum isn't approved. And how do we
Yes,
meet those needs
yes,
and address
absolutely.
that? So I think that's has to be kind of built in. So
Yeah.
there's multi-levels here. Does that make sense?
Okay. Thank you for putting that together, Bill. That's very helpful. Oh, sorry.
Do your announcement or something.
Oh, no, we do need a motion to approve this, the revised budget development calendar.
I'll move to approve the revised 2024-2025 budget development calendar as modified during this meeting.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the revised 2024-2025 budget development as modified. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre?
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart?
Yes.
Mr. Gatton?
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll?
Yes.
Mrs. Costa?
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes.
Mr. Barkus?
Yes.
Mr. Forster?
Yes.
Okay, any announcements?
Yeah, we have a couple announcements, including your board notes is a hyperlink to thank you card from the Elkhorn Area High School FFA. And then as a reminder, the Friends Awards are on January 22nd, so that board meeting will start. It's an awards ceremony, not a board meeting, but it will be posted as such because the quorum will be there over at the auditorium in the high school. And so we have those Friends Awards. It goes 6 to 6:30, 6:45-ish, and then we come back over here for the regularly scheduled board meeting. That's 7 o'clock. So just make note of that. You're all invited to attend that. It's a neat tradition that Elkhorn started a number of years before I was here. And it's neat to see that recognition that the Friends of the District are nominated by the Elkhorn staff. Then we do have a closed session.
All right, need a motion to adjourn to closed session.
I move that we adjourn to close, to contemplate closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C, to evaluate the job performance of the district administrator, to discuss a contract for a separate administrator, and to discuss the resignation of an athletics coach. The school board will not reconvene in open session.
So is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn to contemplate closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C, to evaluate the job performance of the district administrator, to discuss a contract for a separate administrator, and to discuss the resignation of an athletic coach. The school board will not reconvene in open session. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre?
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart?
Yes.
Mr. Gatton?
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll?
Yes.
Mrs. Costa?
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes.
Mr. Barkus?
Yes.
And Mr. Forster?
Yes.